All right, so the Dokkan community is talking a lot about Infinite Zamasu. Of course, his EZA just released, so there is a very good reason why. But I've seen a lot of people disappointed in this guy's Extreme Z Awakening, and we're just gonna go ahead and talk about it today. Kind of assess how I feel about him, I guess, and also the community. So, a lot of people are unfavorable towards this character's Extreme Z Awakening for a couple of different reasons. I think the biggest thing is they feel like he could have had a little more to him. And I definitely wouldn't disagree with that. To me, I feel Zamasu is like an 8 out of 10 character. Like in terms of like an EZA even. It's like he is good overall, I would say, but I think he could always be a little better. For example, I think him getting all these stats after attacking when there is the Goku Black fight right now. The Goku Black and Zamasu fight just came out, and it is fair to assume, hey, I personally think that the new character and EZAs would do really well for these new difficult fights. Again, if I can go ahead and actually find this fight here, the Goku Black and Zamasu, again, this AoE from Goku Black is very devastating to many characters, but even the AoE damage too in this guy, it sucks. This guy gets locked in slot 1 by Zamasu. He's cooked. I think that that does very much hurt this guy, I think, in terms of like evaluating him as how good is he as a card. I think that there is a very easy way to fix that as well. Just really getting into it. Where is this guy right here? So this mercenary towel, funny enough, this guy does get this part of his passive sorry, wrong part, I highlighted, silly me. When receiving an attack with 10 or more ki, he gets 100% defense, basically 108%. And I think that is kind of what Zamasu should have had added to his passive, because he gets one attacking with 12 more ki, 50%, one attacking with 18 or more ki, 50%, and then one attacking with 24 ki, 100%. All fine and nice. Really good 200% attacking defense multiplicative buff. We definitely will take that. But I feel like, again, when it comes to AoE attacks, it leaves him a little inconsistent when it comes to that. When I say little, I think very averagely inconsistent, right? That's a weird term to use, but essentially, like, I think there are ways he has around it. For example, this guy is a full dodge build character. I myself have been able to get around AoEs in longer fights, like let's say the Jiren fights. This guy does actually have his active skill. Now, his active skill, when he uses it, which is, again, after doing 5 more super attacks, very easy for this guy to get. It does count as attacking at 24 ki, so he would actually get all of these buffs starter turn. So he's actually, what, like 2 mil defense starter turn or something like that. Could be a little higher depending on support, depending on Goku Black actives, etc. And that situation is fine. And the thing about the Jiren fight is, like, again, the AGL Jiren fight is kind of still one of the harder fights in the game. We could say, again, these two fights right here. Basically, this AGL Jiren fight could be very devastating to a lot of characters, but keep in mind, Jiren can actually be attack debuffed. This Fusion Zamasu is a character that has tons of attack debuffs here, right? Tons and tons of attack debuffs. So he will just use his active, do some decent damage, then debuff this guy to Oblivion to where he's gonna do very little damage the next turn anyways. And then you probably will have this boss killed by the time you get to come back around, or it's not really going to be an issue. Again, the biggest thing that could happen to you is you get locked. But even in certain situations, there's a lot of times where Jiren does like a couple of attacks before he even supers. He has a 70% chance to super, but it's usually always like the last attack in slot 1 is what I see a lot of the time. Not every single time, but with that being the case, that leaves it to, like, this guy could receive a few hits, get his full reduction up, and if he used the active, he'd actually be able to eat it pretty decently well. Nothing crazy, but with the amount of damage Jiren does, he actually would be overall, like, okay. Like, he would still take some damage for sure. It just, especially if I have, like, again, the tech phone there, it was not really that big of a deal. But, yeah, again, this Jiren could be a bit devastating with the AoE right here as well. But there's ways around it in longer fights. It's really like this fight where I'm like, yeah, it's like this guy could have issues, but still, even here, I found this guy to be incredibly useful against Zamasu. And when you eventually get around to Goku Black and starting to, defeat him, Zamasu still at least has the attack debuffs, which is really, really important. I think, this guy has an issue that many slot 2 characters have against this Goku Black, where it's the turn you kill Zamasu, which I think in Zamasu is fairly commonly on those turns, because in Zamasu himself does actually do quite a lot of damage to this Zamasu, obviously being type advantage, guaranteed crits, etc. But this guy will still keep the 50% attack and defense buff. So then you start building this up, and he has this up. It's very disgusting, and in Zamasu, many situations could die in that kind of turn. So that's where you got to be a little bit careful. But I mean, honestly, I don't really see an issue with him in most of the hard fights in the game. Again, we take a look at the Jiren fight I already brought up. I think he is able to do quite well in there. I literally ran him before. If you don't have his active skill up for some reason, he could obviously take a lot of damage. But in most situations, as long as you set your rotations properly, he's not even going to be locked in slot 1. Most of the time, he's a slot 2 character. So unless you float him off right before you get to the Jiren phase, there's not really a point. Well, it's like, in this fight, I can see the locking being an issue. This fight, what you do is you float off your Goku Black and Zamasus on the Kefla phase. Like, you float them off on this phase, and then they come back around to slot 1s in this phase. And then Zamasu will literally never have to worry about getting locked in slot 1. And you could even put him slot 1 here, so he's always going to be in slot 2. Like, that's what you do. If you can kind of play around it here. And he's actually able to do quite good here in this phase as well. Not really that big of a deal. Even in this fight right here, we have the locking with the physical topo. I think if physical topo locks him in slot 1, it's dangerous. And even then, I would say Topo could do a lot of damage. He doesn't attack that much, so it could be an issue of Topo will just off the rip super Zamasu, and it could be very dangerous. But this guy has no HP. The Goku Blacks probably one-shot him with their active turn anyway, so they're a very easy way to get around that if you consider the team. And then this guy right here is an unarmed super, so Zamasu has 70% chance to counter it. And if you get the 10 key spheres, which might not be too common at this point because his rainbow orb changing will be gone, but you're able to still counter this with a 70% chance or 100% if you somehow get the 10 key spheres. And I also feel like by the end of the fight, you have the Goku Black actives up. You can even use physical. You won't run physical in here, but the Goku Black's actives will be up. This guy's defense will be enough to eat the super attack. He probably has to take 1 or 2 attacks before then, but not really a big deal. And even in this fight here, he's able to pretty decently live the Goku Black super and double digit tank the Zamasu super, especially because the AoE, if he dodges the AoE, he's able to build up a little bit of reduction. But again, with 1 or 2 attacks taken, he's able to live these supers pretty comfortably. So it's not really I don't really see an issue. You can also consider this Blue Goku fight. This guy has the 70% chance to nullify the supers. And since it's a turn 1 fight, you could very easily get the guaranteed one. I don't know. I think this guy is pretty useful in most of the difficult fights because he's also doing a lot. Rainbow orb changing. He has a bunch of decent damage. He's not a crazy damage dealer. I think, again, his numbers could be higher. Maybe this should have been 300%. But I'm not too devastated over it. He has the healing right here. He has a potential nullification. With the orb changing and everything like that, he's doing a decent amount. The attack debuffing could be really good in a lot of events, right? Attack debuffing is it's a pretty good spot right now. I think a lot of people aren't considering that. And this guy's a major attack debuffer. So he could just very well help your team do a lot better. And again, whenever the Int Goku Black buffs go away, I would not even say Int Goku Black's a better character than him right now, but it's that's kind of maybe what this guy is kind of thought of to be, just the replacement for the Int Goku Black on this team, which would make a lot of sense to me personally. So yeah, again, I think that I like this guy right here. Looks pretty overall good to me. I just think he has some issues, but enough of me yapping. We can go ahead and take a look here at, the replies here, because because the main part of the video. I just wanted to get my point across first, right? If that makes sense. So, about as useful as he was in release, see, this is just like in Zamasu, like, even if you don't like in Zamasu Vector, I know you have to be like trolling or something. Like in Zamasu in release, he had nothing. What did bro have? No one, pretty much, right? Like he was homeless, pretty much, right? Like if we think about, I guess we could bring up like the worldwide chaos team. Let's go by release date. I guess that'll be a decent way, because yeah, I mean, well, if we go by release date, it'll be a bit tough. So what I'll do is I'll go by updated date still. So around the time that he came out, we had AGO Goku Black, STR Rose, Goku Black, and Zamasu EZAs. These are good characters, but where did you run these guys? Where did you run them? There's no team for them, basically. Like in Zamasu, you would have to run like a double in Zamasu leader. Like what would you like? I forgot what setup you actually would use for this guy. Future Saga leader at the time was Vegeta Trunks. You would just use the Vegeta Trunks team. It just was really weird. Like at that time, like this guy, there's no way, because he just had no one you could really use with. Goku Black and Zamasu were nice, but they're not a permanent slot 1 character. STR Rose was nice, but also not a slot 1 character. AGO Goku Black was pretty mediocre. Like, you're comparing this guy having these guys compared to this. Like, it's a very clear night and day difference. Very clear night and day difference, man. You know, you could even say Zamasu Goku here as another option. They ain't Goku Black buff, AGO Rose. Like, this guy is in a much better spot. Before, he really needed to be a slot 1 character, because like there's no other spot for him pretty much. He got to be on the super class Vegeta Trunks team, basically. This guy is able to cover slot 1. Like, we at least have him. Again, I wanted this guy to be a slot 1 character, but at the bare minimum, I'm like, we still have the Goku Black plus Zamasu card. You could even run Broly Trio on this team, but that's what I've been doing, right? Again, we can go ahead and show right here. Fusion Zamasu and Broly Trio. Like, they're actually really good in this fight right now, because obviously Garage Dodge is really good here, but Zamasu's orb changing, the rainbow orb changing, plus the Inti Sphere changing, makes it super easy for this guy to get his extra buffs. And guess what this guy will get? 10% extra damage reduction, because the Broly Trio actually do give 10% reduction to super bosses and movie bosses. So Zamasu would actually be able to have 70% reduction in that turn. Like, again, when you really think about how the team kind of works around this guy, he's actually a pretty good fit here because of what he's providing. Like, we needed a rainbow orb changer. Where the hell is Broly? Like, there he is. We needed a rainbow orb changer for this team. That's like something we didn't have, and this guy does fill that role. Very nice, I would argue, as well. Even though it's just for the 5 turns, like, ideally it would be longer, of course, but it's not like Broly Trio. You're not running this character in short content. Like, you really need the rainbow orb changing early on before your characters build up, right? Because Goku Black will eventually build up ki, from what I'm remembering. The Zamasu himself will build up ki. Like, let me double check here. No, this guy does not build up ki. My bad. But you guys get the point, where eventually we're going to be able to build up these characters, and I think having the extra support in any way early on will be really, really good for us. But this guy especially, like, it's hugely helped out. And, you know, being able to enable a guaranteed dodge character on this team is crazy. It's really, really crazy. You know, again, here's another rotation here where we see a similar situation of, again, with the orb changing, with the rainbow orb changing, we were able to get Broly Trio the 7 key spheres. We were also able to cancel the heal. Now, Zamasu did take double digits from these supers here. Keep in mind that Goku Black was actually debuffed, so there's not really a point to showing it. I forgot the tech clone was on rotation here. For some reason, when I posted this clip, it just wasn't registering in my mind. I was like, oh, he took double digits, right? But, like, I feel like people think that this guy is impossible to run in this event. Because, again, turns like this can happen, right? I brought up this tweet. I did retweet it. Turns like this can happen. He's not a perfect character, right? honestly, I don't think that this should be happening. I think that, again, he should get all of his defense when receiving an attack. Even if he had that, he probably would have still taken, like, I don't know. Because this is 500. Well, I guess if he had all this start of turn, he would go from 200k defense to like 2 million defense range, I would say. Like around that range. 1.5 to 2 mil, right? This is turn 5, so he had like I would assume he would have the Goku Black like buff up here. He would be able to live this though. Like he would take like at least like maybe at most 200k, but probably like double digits because of the fact that he would get all of that defense when he actually supers. Like it's a lot. That's like the only real change I would make to this guy, because it's like I don't think this should happen, but again, in many situations it might not, because again, this is a turn where Zamasu, like I talked about earlier, where Zamasu was still alive earlier on in this turn. Well, actually, what do you happen? I think Zamasu was probably dead already. But again, here's an example. You can still get to know how to remember this guy. Like, I feel like people are really exaggerating this character. I like how I'm saying that, but I'm not really showing. Again, fun to use team filler. I wouldn't say filler. Disappointed. Does everything pretty good, but nothing great. Very good. Like, let me actually read some of these replies here, right? Slot 2 unit with the current meta is you can't use slot 2 units. That's not really the case, I feel like. And I think it's, well, okay, it is kind of the case, being fair, with the Goku Black AoE rounds, but it is still not the only fight we're going to wreck characters on it. Again, he can still be very usable in here. And he's not really a huge fan of the Zamasu Goku Black, or the Goku Black I know. This is just crazy, dude. Like, sure, okay. This right here, how do you even take, okay, I guess what happened is Goku Black supered, and then he AoE'd after. Very unlucky for this guy. He would take a lot of damage. Not the best, right? Fusion Zamasu is such a funny screenshot. Fusion Zamasu is such a funny screenshot here. So again, this is I mean, again. So what? So is this a buffed Goku Black? No, just turn 1. So right here we see, again, not a fan of this. 380k is a lot of damage to take from there, right? For sure. But he should be very good still against the super at the end. And also, he's going to heal at the end of the turn. Like, he will provide you some healing. He should be good against the super attack. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. It just kind of sucks, right? Really good about sucks ass in the hardest events. I wouldn't say sucks ass mid. You know, funny enough, mid sounds bad, but mid would still be like 7, probably 7 out of 10. I think that's a fair assessment too. I feel like maybe I would say 8 out of 10 though for me. Held back, defensively needed more. His damage reduction is too low for your liking. While his supering damage is good, he should have had something to counteract the weakest starter turn. Yeah, even like guard. If they gave this guy guard, he would actually be super overpowered, right? 9 10 EZA, 0 10 for Zamasu needed. 30% reduction before attacking would also be useful. Yeah, I think that would be another good thing. Like 30% reduction before he attacks. And then he gets this as well. I think that would be really good. Should have gone guard. You very much like him. He can take damage from the AoE, but most every character can. He can do a ton of damage to Zamasu, which is good. His orb changing helps Broly Trio. Yeah, mid Masu Maya. I agree. Like, he's doing a lot of things. Namek Goku and Ejo Frieza, like Namek one time. I think these guys ended up being better than they were initial release, but Zamasu is a better card. Like, take them into the new fight right now. Do that. Compared to Zamasu. He's a character. Weakness, like every character, happens to be AoEs, but he isn't one shot by them. Exactly. He's, like, I don't know. The Bossman is a playable character type unit because why is this guy weak to AoEs when he's well known to use? That is very funny. Yeah. In chooses Zamasu AoE. Like, the Goku Black AoE stuff is crazy, and then he's weak to them. Yeah. Again, a lot of good comments here too, so I'm very happy because I've seen a lot of negativity on the timeline, and you know, I think a lot of people are disappointed in this guy. I would also say part 2 content can very much shape things around here. Very much so. Wait, using Namiko because example doesn't make Zamasu look better. How boring, unfun he was, even with the rest of content dropping. I mean, I guess so. But the thing is that like things can. The point is that things could change. Very much so. So I just felt like making this video because I saw a lot of dislike for this guy, and I feel like people are somewhat misunderstanding the role of this guy, or you know how he could actually be applied in game. Like when you actually look at Blue Goku fight, the Jiren fights, he's quite good there. Goku Black and Zamasu fight, he's not the best, but you could very easily still run him in there. He does provide a lot for the team in that fight, especially enabling Broly, G-Line, Lemo. Really nice to have that. We could also talk about battle hardened foes. I think this guy is not the best in. Cell Max and Broly's AoE. If they AoE, they demolish this guy. But other than that, I mean, you could also say like you could have Tech clone Goku Black there, I guess. Keep him on a rotation with Tech clone Goku Black or something. And it's like, do you die? Like, no. Like, this guy would be fine with Tech clone around. I mean, obviously it's Tech clone, and maybe that's not something that you should like consider too much, but it is something where it's like, okay, Tech clone debuffs, this guy will debuff like for the next turn that Tech clone's on. There's a thought right there where it's like you can still get it clear with this guy, right? I don't know. I think that my biggest change though, just to combat all of this, he should have had all this defense when receiving an attack at the key levels. I don't really think there's a reason not to. But that's my opinion. So let me know what you guys are thinking. What you guys would have liked to see from this guy changed. He could have been better, but I think he's pretty good still. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.